story of Pandora, the first human woman from Greek mythology. It started when Prometheus, the clever Titan, stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind, infuriating Zeus. He imprisoned Prometheus on a mountaintop for punishment and devised a plan to keep mankind from growing too powerful. Zeus commanded Hephaestus, his blacksmith, to mold the first woman, and many of the Olympians contributed to her creation. Athena gave her wisdom, Aphrodite bestowed beauty, Hermes granted her cunning, and Hera gifted her with curiosity. Zeus sent her to marry Prometheus's brother Epimetheus with a special wedding gift, a beautiful jar she was told never to open. Though she lived happily, the jar's mystery gnawed at her. One fateful night, Pandora's curiosity overwhelmed her. Trembling, she lifted the lid, and to her horror, dark, swirling evils escaped. Sickness, sorrow, and death spreading across the world. Pandora quickly closed the jar, but it was too late. Overcome with guilt and sorrow, she peered inside and found one thing remaining: hope. Though she had unleashed great suffering, hope's gentle light comforted her, promising resilience to humanity.
Something just dawned on me that you definitely want to hear at the end of this video. But first, let me go through the process of this video. Isn't it interesting how these stories all seem to have the same motif, right? If you look at this story of the creation of man, and well, the idea of man, and then the creation of woman, and the fall of man, doesn't it sound very familiar? I'm not saying that the Bible copied exactly everything from the Greeks or any other group, but all these stories seem to have the same motif. And one of those motifs is going to be the fact that women are always to blame. Women are always the downfall of man in all of these stories. That these patriarchal systems always paint the woman as the one that ruined paradise for man. But when you look at this story, you also see some other similarities. What do you see here? You see that Prometheus was a titan, and this titan wanted to be a benefit to man, kind of like how Enki was in the stories trying to be a benefit to man by giving man fire, and by Enki giving man the knowledge of how to create tools and things of this nature. And then the primary god, Enlil or El, whichever this god is, once man has attained this certain amount of knowledge, where is it, eaten from the tree of good and evil, good knowledge of good and evil, or attain some type of knowledge or growth, the God always has a fear. Remember in your book Genesis, it said, now man has become like us, knowing good and evil, and so we must keep him from the tree of life, which is a whole nother conversation. Just hit me right now that I've never really talked about. Why does there need to be a tree of life? In the Sumerian story, the tree of life was the knowledge that the Anunnaki had in order to use things like monatomic gold to create the Philosopher's Stone in order for them to have immortality. So the tree of life being something that was accessible to the gods, or the Elohim or B'nai Elohim, is a necessary thing in order for them to have immortality, which would indicate that there's a possibility that these deities, in the thinking of the people at that time frame, could die. We know that the Sumerians say that their deities, that the Anunnaki, live for hundreds of thousands of years, which would give the implication or the idea that they were immortal, since the life of man was much shorter. So the tree of life was needed by God, by El, in order for God or El to continue to live, and for the other B'nai Elohim, the angels, to be able to live. Good thinking. Let's talk about that later. But back into this story. So Prometheus gives them fire, and then Zeus is pissed. Just like El gets mad at the serpent, and then the Prometheus is trapped on a mountain, the serpent has to crawl upon his belly, and will always have enmity between man, especially the woman, and the child and her offspring. So those sound similar, similar motif. Then, according to this story, God makes a woman. So weirdly, the Greeks, earth was just filled with men. I know somebody's going to say something about men banging other men, but isn't that but yeah, a world full of men wouldn't be a good thing, not at all. But the world was obviously filled with just men, and then they decided to make a woman. Some of the things the woman was given was great, but then Hermes gave her cunning, and Hera gave her curiosity. Zeus, knowing that he's going to make this jar. It's interesting how the lower gods, the B'nai Elohim or the angels, always, even though they may know better, have to subject themselves or submit themselves to the will of this higher God. Whether what this God is saying is good or bad, they always have to submit to his will. But so Zeus set them up and then had the woman not go and be with man, but go be with a brother of Prometheus, which would make her being with a Titan, which is similar to the B'nai Elohim or the Igigi coming down and having sex with the women and producing the Nephilim. So this woman went and got with a Titan. These Titans are supposed to be like super tall. So I'm imagining their schlong had to be super big. Don't think that with that ping would have fit into her poom poom. But anyway, as the story goes. So she then falls in love and they are living this wonderful life. But then her curiosity that was given to her by Hera, which means that Zeus set the woman up for failure, kind of like putting the tree of knowledge in the midst of the garden, making the fruit look good, making it something that they wanted to have, that their curiosity got the best of them when they were told that, hey, this is you just gonna become like the gods, so you're not gonna die. And in this one, just put this beautiful jar right in front of you. That's like you got a person, like when I was a trainer and I had a weight loss program, and I would have people come to my gym. That would be like me putting pizza and stuff in the gym while they're working out. Kind of like how this one gym does, which I hate when they do that. But anyway, so Zeus set him up for failure, just like El set up mankind for failure by putting that tree right in their midst and making it look good. But then this is the thing that hit, well, first, so she opens the jar, all the evils come out. They eat from the tree of life, a knowledge of good and evil. All the evil now comes into man. But evil had to already existed in order for evil to be able to come out of the jar, or for evil to be then already had to be in the world. If there was knowledge of good and evil, evil had to already have existed in the universe in order for either story to happen. So it's not that man created evil. Evil already existed. Man just didn't know what evil was. But now that Pandora has opened up this jar, or Pandora's box, now we know that what evil is, and evil is now in the world of men, where I guess evil was ethereal before that. But no, it had to already be in the world of man for that to happen. Sorry about that. Phone ring. But here's the thing I just thought about when I was listening to that. The only thing that was left in the bottom of the jar was hope. And to some people, that is a great thing. And Christians today, they look and say that, well, we have hope for something better. Faith is the belief in something and not known or no evidence of, and things hoped for. Hope is dangerous. Not dangerous in the sense that hope allows it. Let me rephrase. Hope is dangerous in the effect, in the thought process, that hope causes you to willingly stay in your suffering. Hope causes you to be accepting of your suffering. Hope causes the people to think that they should be still slaves. Hope causes the people to believe in writings that say the last will be first and the first will be last. That hope causes people to think that a rich person has gained everything now, but what you're going to gain later is going to be in heaven. So just wait for things hoped for. Hope is destructive when you're looking at people who have been marginalized and people who have been oppressed, taken advantage of. It is not hope that we should be holding on to. It is not hope that poor people should be taught, because hope doesn't cause you to take the actions necessary in order to change your life. Ambition causes you to change your life. Desire, not wanting, but desire to have something better in your life now is what we should have, not hope. When I wrote my first book, How to Escape Mental Welfare, I started out talking about hope, and one guy was like, you should have kept talking about hope. But no, hope doesn't get you anywhere. Not at all. You don't need hope. You need ambition. You need desire. You need determination. You need making up your conscious mind to do what's necessary. Because always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because you're great.